भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। मनो हि द्विविधं प्रोक्तं शुद्धं चाशुद्धमेव च अशुद्धं कामसङ्कल्पं शुद्धं कामविवर्जितम्। मन एव मनुष्याणां कारणं बन्धमोक्षयोः बन्धाय विषयासक्तं मुक्तं निर्विषयं स्मृतम्। यतो निर्विषयस्यास्य मनसो मुक्तिरिष्यते अतो निर्विषयं नित्यं मनः कार्यं मुमुक्षुणा। निरस्तविषयासङ्गं सन्निरुद्धं मनोहृदि यदा यात्यात्मनो भावं तदा तत्परमं पदम्। तावदेव निरोधव्यं यावद् हृदि गतं क्षयम्। एतज्ज्ञानं च ध्यानं च शेषो न्यायश्च विस्तरः। नैव चिन्त्यं न चाचिन्त्यं न चिन्त्यं चिन्त्यमेव तत् पक्षपातविनिर्मुक्तं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा। स्वरेण सन्धयेत् योगम् अस्वरं भावयेत् परम् अस्वरेणानुभावेन भावो वा भाव इष्यते। तदेव निष्कलं ब्रह्म निर्विकल्पं निरञ्जनम्। तद्ब्रह्माहमिति ज्ञात्वा ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते ध्रुवम्। निर्विकल्पमनन्तं च हेतुदृष्टान्तवर्जितम्। अप्रमेयमनादिं च यज्ञात्वा मुच्यते बुधः। न निरोधो न चोत्पत्तिः न बद्धो न च साधकः न मुमुक्षुर्न वै मुक्तः इत्येषा परमार्थता। एक एवात्मा मन्तव्यो जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्तिषु स्थानत्रयव्यतीतस्य पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते। एक एव हि भूतात्मा भूते भूते व्यवस्थितः एकधा बहुधा चैव दृश्यते जलचन्द्रवत्। घटसंवृतमाकाशं नीयमाने घटे यथा घटो नीयेतनाकाशः तथा जीवो नभोपमः। घटवत् विविधाकारं भिद्यमानं पुनः पुनः तद्भग्नं न च जानाति स जानाति च नित्यशः। शब्दमायावृतो नैव तमसा याति पुष्करे भिन्ने तमसि चैकत्वम् एक एवानुपश्यति। शब्दाक्षरं परं ब्रह्म तस्मिन् क्षीणे यदक्षरं तद्विद्वानक्षरं ध्यायेत् यदिच्छेत् शान्तिमात्मनः। द्वे विद्ये वेदितव्ये तु शब्दब्रह्म परं च यत् शब्दब्रह्मणि निष्णान्तः परं ब्रह्माधिगच्छति। ग्रन्थमभ्यस्य मेधावी ज्ञानविज्ञानतत्परः पलालमिव धान्यार्थी त्यजेत् ग्रन्थमशेषतः। गवामनेकवर्णानां क्षीरस्याप्येकवर्णता क्षीरवत् पश्यते ज्ञानं लिङ्गिनस्तु गवां यथा। घृतमिव पयसि निगूढं भूते भूते वसति विज्ञानं सततमन्थयितव्यं मनसा मन्थानुभूतेन। ज्ञाननेत्रं समादाय उद्धरेत् वह्निवत्परं निष्कलं निश्चलं शान्तं तद्ब्रह्माहमिति स्मृतम्। सर्वभूताधिवासं यत् भूतेषु च वसत्यपि सर्वानुग्राहकत्वेन तदस्म्यहं वासुदेवः तदस्म्यहं वासुदेव इति।
गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा मेरे जीवन का अवलंबन है बस एक यही मेरा बल है गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा। साथ मेरे रक्षक बनकर बिसरो ना कभी यह प्रेममयी आनंदमयी भवनीय कृपा गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा गुरुदेव तव महनीय कृपा.
Summary of Discourse 8. Mantra 9. Hetu Drishtanta Varjitam. It is beyond inference. Inference, there is a fire. Hetu, reason. One sees smoke. Drishtanta, illustration. Smoke is invariably associated with fire. Therefore, there is a fire. Hence, inference depends on perception and association. There is no perceptible indicator of the self. The self has no associations whatsoever. Inference depends on logic. Logic relates cause earlier in time to effect later in time. The self is neither cause nor effect. It is beyond time. Logic is a construct of the intellect. The self transcends the intellect. Then what is the valid means of knowledge of the self? Only Shabda Pramana, the scriptures and the Guru. Intuitive revelation reveals the self. It is aparoksha anubhuti, unmediated direct experience. One knows the self by being one with it. Mantra 10. There is no world, no creation or dissolution. There is no bondage or one striving for freedom. There is neither liberation nor the liberated one. This is the state of the supreme truth. But the majority of people are convinced that the world is real. The majority think the sun rises, that there is a horizon. Both are unreal. But the world is durable. There is continuity of experience. Dreams also have durability. The same experience can recur in dreams. But this world has utility. One can eat and drink. Utility is relative. One can be sated in the waking state and starve in the dream state. The food that fills us in the dream cannot satisfy us in the waking state. Then how does one know the absolute truth? It is constant, unchanging. It has no arrival and departure. It is undeniable, uncontradictable. That seems very abstract. How can I comprehend it? In Vyavaharika Satta, transactional reality, the world has reality and existence. In Paramarthika Satta, supreme reality, the world has no existence or reality. In between is Pratibhasika Satta, relative reality. The world is illusory. It only seems real. The plane of relative reality is the bridge between transactional and absolute reality. Again, what is real? What is existence? The substratum that gives existence to the world alone has existence. The substratum that gives reality to the world alone has reality. The rope gives existence to the serpent. The desert gives reality to the mirage. When one turns away from the illusion to the underlying reality, one realizes the supreme truth. Turn away from the world. Begin the inquiry. Remember, one's body is in the world. When the reality of the world is negated, the reality of the body is also negated. One cannot think that my body is real, but the world is unreal. But the Upanishads give so many theories of creation. Explanations of creation are not to validate creation, but to rise beyond it to Ishvara, that is Brahman plus Maya, and transcend that also to Brahman. The infinite is immutable. Creation is mutable. Hence, creation is illogical. How can the infinite become bound? How can consciousness become ignorant? The donkey in the parable is not tied. It only imagines that it is tied and so does not walk. When the imaginary rope is untied, it knows it is free and walks. This is what the gurus do for us. They untie the illusory knots of bondage that imprison us. How do I live in this unreal world? Pujya Gurudev says, play the role as if the world is real, live as if the world is unreal.
Hari Om Swamiji, pranams. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Namaskar to all of you who have joined us today. Welcome to this 9th discourse on Amritabindu Upanishad. The Sampurna Yajamans for this whole Upanishad discourses, Yajna, are Sri Chittur Manohar, Srimati Jolly Silvipat, Srimati Nirja Birla, Srimati Radha Kini. The Sampurna Upayajamans are Srimati Chitra Vora, Srimati Kalpana Morparia, Sri Kishore Mallapur, Srimati Kumud Jnanendra Misra, Srimati Preeti Saxena, and Srimati Sumitra Patel. The Dainik Yajman for today's discourse is Sri Suresh Tharoor and Srimati Tina Das. Just one more thing I would like to add is next week we'll be having the discourse 2 days after Sadhana Day. So we are planning a little talk, a video of a talk by Gurudev to all sadhakas, to all students of Vedanta. So please do log in time, 15 minutes before at 6:45 or even earlier. Hari Om. Swamiji, please continue to teach us.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Samastajana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Om Bhadram Karne Bhishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Estuštuvagm Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we saw in the 10th mantra, na nirodho na cha utpattihi, na baddho na cha sadhakaha. There is neither creation nor dissolution, there is neither bondage nor liberation, neither a seeker nor a liberated one. Nammukshur navai muktaha iti esha paramarthata. This is the supreme state. So we saw that this paramarthika satta is the very goal to be realized. It is our true self. And of various means to know what is real, neither perceptibility, nor durability, nor majority, nor utility are the criteria to know what is real. So what is the criteria to know then what is real? Uncontradictability is the criteria. That which remains the same in all three periods of time, that is the truth. So now, how to know what is that which remains the same in all three periods of time? So the 11th mantra says that Eka evatma mantavyo jagrat swapna sushuptishu sthanatraya vyatitasya punarjanmana vidyate. Eka eva atma mantavyaha. One should contemplate on this. One should know this Atma, which is one alone. In what? In three states of awareness. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. And one who goes beyond these three states, Sthanatraya Vyatitasya Punarjanmana Vidyate. There is no birth for that person. So, see, first, before we come to Vedanta, we don't even know there are three states of awareness. At least I didn't know that. Maximum one knows waking state, dream state. Whoever knew there is something called deep sleep state? And then if you transcend these three states, then there's a fourth state of awareness, which is our true self. No idea. Which is why Vedanta is required. A valid means of knowledge is required to make us aware even of who we are at a relative level, then to know who we are at the absolute level. For both we require Vedanta. Relative level, obviously, there are other sciences which can help us in some ways. Psychology can also say about dreamless sleep. But not to the depth at which Vedanta tells us. And then, of course, absolute truth no one tells. For that, we need valid means of knowledge, Vedanta, and learn from that from a teacher. So here, what does the mantra say? These three states, we generally travel in these three states. So the method that is applied here in Vedanta is called Anvaya and Vyatireka. Anvaya means presence. Vyatireka means exclusion or absence. What is present in the three states at all times and what gets excluded? Using that, we will find out what is the self and what is the not self. So first of all, what is the definition of waking state in the science of Vedanta? Is interesting definition. Waking state definition is not from morning to evening, because the great masters must have known that nowadays people are awake in the night. They wake up at night only and they have a whole active night life and then they sleep in the day. So the definition of waking state is not morning to night. Definition of sleep is not night to morning. What is the definition of waking state? When the mind goes out through the senses and experiences the world outside, that state of awareness is called waking state. So with our senses active, so the body is active, senses are active, and through that the mind has gone out. We are seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, various experiences. We meet people, we work, we act, we eat, we drink, we enjoy, so many things we do. All that is the waking state. Through the senses, the mind has gone out. And in some languages, they mix up v and b. So instead of waking state, they'll say baking state. And in one way, it is true. In waking state, we get baked in that. It is very temporary. Whatever we experience here is so momentary, it comes, it goes. So waking state is when through the gross body, we are functioning predominantly. Then from waking state, when we get exhausted of that waking state, then we feel tired, then we go to dream state. What is the definition of dream state? This dream state is what experiences we have collected in the waking, the impressions of the waking, they get randomly mixed up and they are projected in the dream state to empty the mind. See, in waking state, body is active, mind is active, and intellect is very active. Many people may not use it very actively, but intellect is active. In the dream state, intellect is not active. It has become dormant. So the mind mixes up impressions randomly and just projects. So if one has eaten the ice cream in the waking state, and one has seen some monkeys, and one has gone ahead and seen some movie in which there is some dance, then suddenly in the dream state, one may find that the monkey is wearing the dance costumes, eating the ice cream and doing the dance. Who knows? Any random combination, and one is dancing with the monkey. Some mixture happens in the dream state, random projection. Sometimes some deep impressions have happened in the waking state, some hurt, some pain, some elation, some excitement. One may relive that also. So all that happens. Gurudev used to say that, people are very interested to analyze their dreams. Okay, dream analysis is a science. Today people are going for it to understand what is the subconscious mind indicating and what is the fear in the mind or what is the desire in the mind, and then they come to know that and then they want to fulfill. So it's okay, it has its own relevance. But from Vedanta standpoint, one is not bothered about it. Gurudev used to say, dream is like mental vomit. When does a person vomit? There's undigested food inside, and then there is so much of burping gas and one feels nausea and then vomit. One feels so relieved. Because it's undigested. So many experiences we collect in the waking state and they all are pushed into the subconscious mind. Many times we are not even aware of what we are going through while we are going through it. And if we don't introspect, then though anyway we will not realize how much of suppression, repression goes on and on every minute. All undigested, it lies there. Nature has this automatic mechanism to throw out these undigested experiences, impressions, and make that mind ready for the next day's experiences to be fresh. Why will one want to analyze that dream unnecessarily? Just let it go. Be fresh for the next day. Learn the lessons of the previous day, introspect, and be fresh for the next day. Finished. For a Vedantic student, waking, dream, deep sleep, none of them are important. They all are unreal. We saw last time, no? Paramarthata. Paramartha Tattva is what one wants to know. These things come, they go. That's why Vairagya is required. Mumukshu requires Vairagya. Then one will not bother. Waking state only one is not bothered to analyze. Why will one bother to analyze dream and then mystical experiences of the dream and remembering the dream and will the dream come true? So dream is the random impressions collected and thrown out. Body is lying quietly. In the dream, the subtle body, and in that subtle body, the mind is predominantly active. Like in the waking state, gross body is predominantly active. Intellect is active. Mind is also active. But in the dream state, mind is most active. Body is dormant, buddhi is also dormant. And in the dream, one can take any identity also. It's not necessary that the same person who is in the waking state goes into the dream. One may have some experiences like that and one may own it that this was my dream and all that. But one can change identities also. One suddenly becomes some tiger, some lion, some bird, some person. So very easily one shifts. Waking, dream, then comes third state is deep sleep or dreamless sleep. That mind which was active, that mind also becomes dormant. One is not aware of the body, one is not aware of the mind, not aware of the identity one is having, Mr. So-and-so, not aware of the buddhi. Then what is in that state? Ignorance is there. Vasanas are in unmanifest state. So that's a state of peace. Obviously, it is not peace of the self. It is what Gurudev used to say, he used to say that this mischievous children also when they sleep, they are so cute, adorable. The moment that fellow wakes up, he brings the whole house down. It's like that. Everybody looks so innocent in their deep sleep. Why? Because that mischief maker, which is the ego, which is the mind, that is dormant. Now, very interesting is the external condition may be anything. The deep sleep of a king and the deep sleep of a beggar will be the same. No difference. Waking dream will be different. But deep sleep will be same. Because everything is unmanifest. Goes into seed state. How much we are able to experience this deep sleep, to that extent we get refreshed, rejuvenated in the body, in the mind. So it's why long hours of sleep are not necessary. Quality of deep sleep is important, and how much the mind is fresh and how much impressions are all thrown out. That determines how that person becomes ready for the next day and feels fresh. Now these three states, they exclude each other. When one is in the waking state, one is not in dream and deep sleep. So the experiences of the waking are not there in dream and deep sleep. Same way the other two states. When one is in dream, waking and deep sleep not there. When one is in deep sleep, waking and dream not there. There are some in-between stages where one is between half waking and half dream. One is in that in-between stage, between dream and deep sleep. Like that, there are some in-between stages, but predominantly they exclude each other. And what does Vedanta say? The identities in each of them also are different. Consciousness identified with the waking state is called Vishwa. Consciousness identified with the dream state is called Taijasa. Consciousness identified with the deep sleep state is called Prajna. That is a generic name. Like right now, each one of us has a different name. But to say the individuality, what is the individuality called in waking state is Vishwa. So everybody who is in waking state is Vishwa. That's a generic name. And who is that Vishwa? Consciousness, which is infinite, identified with one body is Vishwa. We should not forget that consciousness, which is infinite. So this Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna are different from each other. Each state contradicts the other. So how can they be real? And how can this identity Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna be real? Why? Because we saw last class, uncontradictability is the criteria to know the truth. That which remains the same in 3 periods of time, that is called the truth. What remains the same in all 3 periods of time? I am. That remains the same. So in waking state, I may say, I am happy, I am sad, I am tall, I am dark, I am young, I am successful, I am failure, all that. Same experience what one has had in the waking. In the dream state, one takes up some different identities and again goes through different dreams. And then one says in the dream that I am this, I am that. And then in the deep sleep, when one is in the deep sleep, one obviously doesn't know one is in the deep sleep. Upon waking up, one recollects, oh, I slept like a log. I had such a peaceful sleep. I knew nothing what was happening around me. I was so blissful. So, who is that I? Identified with that waking state, one is Vishwa, Taijasa Prajna, but that small I, which keeps changing in waking state also, it changes every minute. That's why people keep asking again and again, how are you? How are you feeling now? Are in one day, why are you asking so many times? I used to feel very weird in the beginning when people keep asking. Once you ask in the morning, how are you doing? All well, bus finished. Every time you are meeting again, how are you feeling now? Why? But then I understood, oh, people go through. In 1 minute they are fine, next minute they are crying, third minute they are again laughing, fourth minute they are scared. It keeps on changing. So in waking state itself, the mind keeps changing so much, the identity keeps changing. Then in dream it changes, deep sleep again it becomes dormant, again it comes out of that. All these changes which are happening to this small I, there is one common factor which is supporting all, otherwise I will never remember. The same entity of the waking went into dream, again went into deep sleep. That jiva, who is that jiva? What is that entity which is common, which is supporting this jiva? That is a real I. That remains all the time. That is called Anvaya. Anvaya of the self and Vyatireka of the 3 states. And the entity going through 3 states. So if we do this Viveka, that in my experience, what remains common in all the changing experiences of waking, dream, deep sleep? I am remains common. That I am, pure I am, that is the self. And that is only one, Eka Eva. And what is that? Atma. Atma means I. The word Atma means I. And that is one only. It is not 3 different entities going through 3 different states. Though it appears like that waking, the Vishwa is separate, Taijasa is separate, Prajna is separate. They are not 3 entities going through 3 different states. It is one only. Identified with the waking, it is called Vishwa. Identified with the dream, called Taijasa. Identified with the deep sleep, called Prajna. But it is one entity. Same person, when is wearing the clothes, night clothes, is the sleeper. When one wakes up in the morning and takes bath, gets ready to, let us say, the policeman. Now he takes the uniform of the policeman. Now that same person who was the sleeper with night clothes, now he becomes the policeman. And when he comes back home from the police station and let us say he goes to play tennis and he changes into sports costume, now he's a tennis player. Now who is common in all? That person is common. The sleeper, the policeman, the tennis player, they appear 3 different, but they are not 3 different, only the externality is different. Same way, waking, dream, deep sleep, they are 3 states, but the entity going through all of them is Atma only, one truth. Eka eva Atma mantavyaha, that Atma has to be known. And the word eka is very beautiful. Eka means eti sarvatra gacchati iti ekaha. That is which is one which has gone everywhere. Is it not true? Even as number, is the number one not present in all the numbers? How nice no, it is. In 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to infinity, one is present in all. So, eka eva atma mantavyaha. Know the atma to be one alone. Why? Because it is infinite. There cannot be 2, 3, 4, 5 infinites. One, eka eva atma mantavyaha. Where? In Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptishu. In all the three states, one Atma only is appearing and taking up different roles. If I recognize that one Atma, then that Atma is a substratum. This waking, dream, deep sleep, they come and they go. Nothing happens to that Atma. So he says in the next line, Sthanatraya Vyatitasya, the fourth state of consciousness. So in the waking state, if I do sadhana, drop my identification with the body, mind, intellect, with waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, I am none of these, then who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I do that sadhana of Nididhyasan. Then one goes beyond the three states. Please remember, sadhana can be done only in waking state. Though there are people who want to do sadhana in sleep and deep sleep and dream. So they ask, Swamiji, why should we meditate only in sitting posture? Can we not do horizontal meditation? We cannot do. We'll go up to sleep. Consciously, sadhana can be done only in waking state. If somebody says that my sadhana has become so deep that even in the dream I remember the name of Bhagavan, japa continues and all that, that is ajapa japa, that's a different matter. That because you did in waking state only that happened. So in general, sadhana can be done in the waking state to go beyond waking, dream, deep sleep. Samadhi avastha. So when one does that sadhana, one transcends, then sthanatraya vyatitasya. When this person goes beyond these three states, what will happen? Punarjanmana vidyate. One goes beyond that state of body identification, jiva bhav. So one doesn't think that I am this body, I am this jiva. Then who am I? I am infinite consciousness which has no birth, no death. That which is born will die and that will be reborn. That which is unborn, there is no birth for it, there is no change in it, there is no death in it, there is no rebirth in it. That is the Atma, that is the self. So once one understands this, the standpoint should become clear. As long as I am a jiva, then yes, waking, dream, deep sleep is the three states in which one keeps going, and then one has to identify through Vivek that no, I am not this entity going through three states. Gurudev used to give another logic to it. Scriptural logic only, but he would say that the experiencer and the rememberer have to be the same. You cannot remember my experience. I have to go through something to remember and recollect it. So if the waker changes, Vishwa changes and goes into dream state and becomes Prajna, and then both Vishwa and becomes Taijasa. So both Vishwa and Taijasa are not there in the deep sleep state, and that entity is called Prajna. Then who is common in all the three to remember what one went through? Like in deep sleep, nothing is there. How does one recollect upon waking up that nothing was there? There has to be some entity which is common in all the three. That common entity is I am. Because I am is how we own up everything. Only thing is we don't know that is small I what we are talking about. But that small I is changing. The real I is the big I which is common. So the presence of that Atma in all the three states and beyond the three states also it remains. That shows it is the truth. And that shows that is our true nature. Now, what is the practical implication of this? If I am not the waking dream deep sleep, what am I giving so much of importance to? How much importance we give to the waking identity? And all the experiences, they either they create so much of ups and downs in us, some elation, some depression, some fear, some joy, some sorrow, some pain. One goes up and down with that. But the fact is, Atma inside is one which is witness of all this. So that's why he says, Thanatraya Vyatitasya Punarjanmana Vidyate. This, even in one day, that, as I said earlier, waker entity only keeps changing so much. Who is aware of that change? There is a changeless substratum inside. That is the Sakshi. Now that Sakshi is a witness which observes. It doesn't do anything, it goes on observing. That observes changes in the waking state also. Then from waking to dream it has gone, it observes changes there also. And then from dream to deep sleep where everything is absent, it observes the absence of everything also. That is the real I. And hence, very, very important it is to understand this, that at a relative level, waking, dream, deep sleep are there. That is only at a relative level, what we have seen earlier. Vyavaharik level and Pratibhasik level. That Vyavahara, we have to understand, is relatively real. It is illusory. It is not absolutely real. Paramarthik Satya is something else. So, how much reality we give to our experiences, that much real they will be. If we give so much importance to our joys and sorrows and make them very real, then that's where we will feel. If we learn to step back and say, I am a Sakshi, this entity is going through, I am not this entity, I am the illuminer of it, then we don't get affected that much. Forget even Sakshi level. Even at mind level, if you think about it, somebody is going to die, has some terminal illness or some challenge has happened, now that person is going to die, but the mind of that person is so positive, so inspiring, so happy, living every moment, not worrying, not anxious. Now that person is living a better life, and somebody has everything going for that person, very strong, very healthy, and very prosperous, and family is there, loving people are there. Still that fellow is miserable. Why? Maid servant has not come, or driver didn't come, or my son is not listening to me. Hare Rama. How much reality we give to our experiences, that much real they are. That's the relative reality. If we say this is Vyavahara, this will keep going on. Some up, some down will go on happening. At one point this body will drop again, another body one will take. How long will this go on? That's why he says Punarjanmana Vidyate. The seeker wants that freedom. No, not bothered about what somebody said, what somebody didn't say, and all that. Where we are stuck in that. And then because of that, there is cycle of birth and death. What is Vedanta telling us? Arey, you are that consciousness, Eka eva Atma Mantavya. You are that one infinite consciousness. You are not that entity going through waking, dream, deep sleep. You are the substratum of waking, dream, deep sleep. On you, they come, they go. Waking comes, goes, dream comes, goes, deep sleep comes, goes. You are the witness, unaffected, uninvolved observer. Eka eva Atma Mantavya. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptishu. Now, having said this, one person, he went to one Mahatma Ji. He said, Mahatma Ji, so people are very upset with me. They are continuously angry with me, and I don't like it. You know what the Mahatma Ji said? He said, if you sit in a garbage can, what will you expect? In a garbage can, if you sit, you will get only garbage, no? People come there to throw garbage. There's a garbage can. So he said that if you sit in a garbage can, what do you expect? except garbage. Means what? This is garbage can. We are sitting inside this. Obviously, garbage only will come to us. Sthanatraya vyatitasya. If one goes beyond these three states, waking, dream, deep sleep, punarjanmana vidyate. One has lifted above oneself above this state. Body identification. It doesn't matter what one says, what one doesn't say. How many people criticized Gurudev, what all they spoke about him. So many people learnt under him and they left him and they were criticizing him after leaving him. He didn't bother only because he was not seated in a garbage can. Just think about that. They criticized him that he is not a Brahmin, he doesn't know Sanskrit, and he is this, he is that, and he is giving this knowledge to the masses in the Lech Bhasha, in English language, and he doesn't identify who is Adhikari, who is not Adhikari, he is giving it unrestricted to everybody. And one Shankaracharya wrote to him and says, your tongue will get blasted into 1,000 pieces. He didn't bother. If anybody else was there, they would have bothered, because if one is sitting in garbage can, the garbage will affect. Very weird that example is. If one is sitting in garbage can, one garbage should not affect one, because that is what one will get in garbage can. But still garbage affects. How weird is that, no? I should expect garbage only if I'm sitting there, but no, I want to sit in the garbage can, but people should throw only nice, give only nice compliments and bring bouquets for me and bring some diamond necklace and bring some, praise me and all that. Sitting in garbage can, how will we expect that? Every time you see garbage can, remember. I remember every time when I see a garbage can, remember, Arey, get out of this garbage can. Why are you sitting inside a garbage can? So, sthanatraya vyatitasya punarjanmana vidyate. What punarjanma? What janma only is not there. Waking, dream, deep sleep, they are the finite experiences. They come, they go. Janak Maharaj, he had a dream that he became a beggar. And that dream was so real to him. When he got up, he asked his guru Ashtavakra Muni. He said, am I the king who dreamed that he was a beggar? He became a beggar? Or am I a beggar who is now dreaming that I am a king? I am confused now. You tell me, who am I? What an answer Ashtavakra Muni gave. He said, you are neither the king nor the beggar. You are that which is beyond both. That consciousness which enlivens this waking, dream, deep sleep, you are that. That is called out-of-the-box thinking. That is the real paradigm shift. Innovativeness is that. Neither you are a king nor you are a beggar. Which is what Vedanta tells us. Waking and dream state are equal in Vedanta. That is very mind-boggling what Vedanta tells. We think waking is more real than dream. Vedanta says no, waking is as good as dream. It is illusory, it is not real. And it is a state of misapprehension. So from Mandukya Upanishad standpoint, there are only two states, not three, only two. One is non-apprehension of the truth, which is ignorance of the truth. I don't know who I am. Other is misapprehension of the truth. So this waking and dream are misapprehension of the truth. Obviously based on non-apprehension. And deep sleep is non-apprehension of the truth. Two states. They equate waking and dream to same. All what we saw earlier, no, hetu drishtanta varjitam, all that cause, effect. Cause and effect is what makes us think this waking is real. Because in dream, cause and effect does not work. There is randomness in dream. Here, cause and effect works. But that is dismantled. We saw earlier, so I'm not going into the depth of it. So waking and dream are same level for Vedanta. That means Vairagya is so high that one doesn't give that much reality to waking state. That's what it means. So one's effort is not to beautify oneself, glorify oneself in the waking state. Our whole life goes in that much only. No, you think about it. What do we want? What are we doing? Trying to beautify ourselves, glorify ourselves in the waking state. And the dream and deep sleep, they come and they go. Based on the waking is the dream, and then deep sleep. Whole life goes in trying to make one state better. What is Vedanta saying? You are none of these three. The entity going through these three is not you. You are that infinite consciousness beyond these three. Sthanatraya vyatitasya punarjanma na vidyate. So, when people say that we are born again and again, and then they say we are again birthless, Vedanta is saying this. That is because from Jiva standpoint, there is birth and death which keeps happening. As long as I'm identified with the body or the Jiva Bhav, birth and death is there, continuous. But in my absolute nature, there is no birth and death. So that is this Atma. Eka eva Atma mantavyaha. Now, if this Atma is one, then why there are so many individuals? Why there is so much of plurality? Now you see here, the 12th shloka explains that. Eka eva hi bhutatma bhute bhute vyavasthitah ekadha bahudha chaiva drishyate jalachandravat. Eka eva hi bhutatma. The Atma in all the Bhuta. We are called Bhuta. And Bhuta, don't think ghost. Bhuta means that which is a being made up of Panchamahabhut, space, air, fire, water, earth. So all the beings. So Bhuta here doesn't mean only human being. All the beings. The Atma is Eka, one in all of them. Eka eva hi Bhutatma. Bhute bhute vyavasthitaha. In each being, the Atma which is there is the same. Ekadha bahudha chaiva. As many beings may be there, but it is still one. How? Drishyate jalachandravat. How the reflection of the moon happens in the multitudes of buckets which are kept there. So, this is called Pratibimba Vaada in Vedanta. Pratibimba is reflection. So, the theory of reflection, Pratibimba Vaada. What does the theory of reflection say? Moon remains one, but it only appears as many. Suppose there are 100 buckets there. The 100 buckets will have 100 reflections, and it will appear that moon is 100. Moon has not become 100. Moon is one only. The reflection of the moon in the water in the bucket makes it appear as though the moon has become so many. Without undergoing any change, it appears as many. That is called Vivartavad. That is called the appearance theory. Swaswarupa aparityagena rupantara apatti. That is called Vivarta, appearance. Without undergoing any change in its true nature, it only appears as something else. A rope without undergoing any change appears as the snake. The waker is sleeping on the bed, but without undergoing any change, that waker becomes the dreamer, dream character, produces the dream world and goes somewhere to Europe, becomes something, travels here, there, everywhere. Where is he? He's on the bed. Nothing has happened. So without undergoing any change, this appearance happens. That's why so much when we get fascinated by the appearances in the appearance, that's why we are stuck. This waking state itself is an appearance. Now in that waking state, we are so caught up with the appearances of how I look and what and this and that, and then filters we put, and we don't want to look in a certain way, and all that we go on doing. What Vedanta is saying, that it is only an appearance. Without undergoing any change, one is appearing as so many. So this Pratibimba Vaada is to say, so the example, if we take in our context, the bucket is the body. The water in the bucket is the subtle body, mind, intellect, memory, ego. Then the reflection of the moon is the jiva. What is the moon? Up there, that moon is the Atma, the self. As of now, what I am thinking I am the bucket, I am the water, I am the reflection. So anything happens to this is happening to me. What Vedanta is saying, you are not the bucket, you are not the water, you are not this reflection, you are the moon. And whoever knows I am the moon is called a Muni. I mean, that's not the etymological meaning of Muni. I'm just playing a pun on the words. Muni is Mananshila, who reflects and comes to understand that I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this ego, this waking dream, deep sleep ego. I am not this. Who am I? I am the Atma, the self. Nothing happens to me. It appears that the moon, the reflection of the moon, is changing. Is, let us say, the water is impure. So the moon in one bucket, the reflection appears impure. In the other bucket, the water is pure. The reflection appears very bright. In third bucket, the water is unsteady. So it appears that the moon is shaking. In fourth bucket, that water is very steady, still and pure. So that reflection is also very calm and serene and steady. Now it appears there are so many reflections and so much of differences, and where is the oneness? All are different from each other. One is a red bucket, one is a black bucket, one is a white bucket, one is a brown bucket. So buckets are different, water is different, the reflections are different. Where is that oneness? We all are different from each other. That is all external conditions. Moon is only one. Without that one moon, none of these reflections will exist. Oh, Swamiji, if Atma is one, then if one person realizes, everybody should realize. It is not possible like that. Can we say that because water in one bucket is impure, all buckets water should be impure? No. Moon is one, but the condition of the buckets are different. One is a small bucket, one is a big bucket, one is a drum, one is a tank, wherever it is, one is a lake. So the capacity may be different in each to hold some water. The mud and the purity, the impurity, all that is different in each one. That doesn't prove that the self is many. Just because there is plurality doesn't mean that the self is also so many. Because Sankhya philosophy thinks that way. For Sankhya, every individual is a combination of Purusha and Prakriti, and Purusha of each individual is different. There is not one Purusha in all of them. Purusha is different in all. Vedanta says that is not possible. Then Purusha becomes finite. And also here, we understand that all this is just an illusory reality. The absolute reality is only one absolute pure consciousness. So, bucket of water, the quality of water, that determines only the reflection quality. Actually speaking, reflection also is same in all. That's a limitation of example. The difference is because of quality of water and the size of the container. That's limitation of example. Don't bring that into picture. So the reflections appear different, buckets different, water different. So we find somebody's mind is very pure, somebody's is impure, somebody has a lot of fear, somebody is extremely happy, somebody is equanimous, somebody is very impulsive. Different people are there, different beings are there. And we are right now talking only of human. Like that, there are all the beings, plants, birds, animals. So many creatures are there. In all of them, Atma is the same. Gurudev used to say, God sleeps in stone, breathes in plants, lives in the animals, but awakens in man. How nice it is. God sleeps in stone. Atma is there even in the stone, but only existence part is reflecting there. Consciousness is not reflecting because the subtle body is not there. It's like having only the bucket, no water inside. So the reflection we can't see. But reflection is there. If you put water, you will see. If you add subtle body in that inert thing, it will also get life. In plant, there is rudimentary mind. So there is Atma which is there. So they will feel some things. So you talk to them lovingly. They will respond to sunlight, music, all that. In animals, much more developed mind. But in human being only there is mind and Sukshma Buddhi, both. That person can realize I am the Atma, I am infinite consciousness, I am not this. So initially when we are very identified with the body, now body is only real and I am Mr. So-and-so is very real. What consciousness, which consciousness, I don't believe in all this. Stage 1. Then slowly one understands, no, this is Jadavastu, this is inert, how is this functioning? Oh, there is some Atma. So then one says, I am a human being with a soul. Stage 2. Then one studies Vedanta further. Then one says, no, I am not human being with a soul inside it. I am the soul appearing right now in this human form. I have taken so many forms earlier. Now after this also I can take any form. And it depends on how much I want to keep taking forms. If I say enough is enough now, then I will stop. Realize that I am that infinite consciousness. If you remove that water and destroy that bucket, finished. There's nothing, no reflection, nothing anymore. But if one says, no, I'll transfer the water from one bucket to another, okay, transfer it. We don't have to transfer the moon. The reflection will go. So with the water, when that water is transferred from one bucket to another, in that another bucket also reflection will continue. Same, because same water it is, no? So whatever impurities were there in that water continue in the next bucket also, or whatever purity was there, that also continues in the next bucket. And that way from bucket to bucket, this water keeps on changing. The reflection will also keep on appearing in that. Everyone says, no, I'm not the bucket, I'm not the water, I'm not the purity or impurity. Who am I? I am the moon. Then one says, oh, I am that consciousness which has appeared as this human body right now. Then many bodies I can take. And what is that consciousness? It is not one small little thing, it is one infinite reality. So that same consciousness is appearing as all this. That is stage 4. Eka eva atma mantavyaha bhute bhute vyavasthitaha. Same one truth, one consciousness alone is there in the hearts of all. Doesn't mean that if one realizes, everybody will realize, because the level of purity of each one is different. If one bulb fuses, all the bulbs will fuse or what? That will not happen. Electricity is same in all. That doesn't mean if one bulb is on, everything will be on, and one bulb fuses, everything will be fused. No, that doesn't happen. Of course, for the person who realizes this, duality disappears. We are not talking about that right now. That's a different phenomenon. Whoever wakes up realizes there's only one Atma, there is no bucket, there is no water, there is no reflection. For moon, what bucket, what water, what reflection? Nothing is there. So for a Mahatma, there is only one self. There is not, see, as a seeker, we say that the Atma here is the Atma everywhere. For the Mahatma, there is only Atma, that's it. That's why it's called Mahatma, whose Atma one has realized that there is only one Atma which is Mahan, which is the infinite, which is supreme. And in that there is no appearance, no disappearance. What we saw earlier, shlokas. Na nirodho na cha utpatti. There is no creation, there is no dissolution, there is no seeker, there is no sought, there is no bondage, no liberation, nothing. That is the state of realized person. But for a sadhak to not have a concept that my Atma is different, your Atma is different. Atma is not different. Jivatma appears to be different because of the conditioning of the bucket and the water. Now, when we move that water from one bucket to the other, do we have to move the moon? Arere, this moon has to be moved, Baba, otherwise, it will not come in this. No, we don't have to move the moon. So, who goes from one body to other? Jivatma goes from one body to other. Who is the Jivatma? Atma identified with one, that is a Jivatma. That Jivatma goes from one body to other. Atma doesn't go anywhere. So when people say that iski Atma chali gayi, that is technically wrong. The Jivatma has gone. And as long as that Jivatma doesn't realize that I am actually infinite Atma, it will keep going, one birth to other. And it will not find peace. There is no peace for us Hindus in that sense. That one is buried and then judgment day one will wake up and then judgment will be given. There is no rest in peace, please. So don't write for Hindus when somebody passes on RIP, rest in peace. We are dynamic people. Till we don't get mukti, we will be pushed by karma, keep on taking new bodies. So this bodies one will keep changing. What was earlier said. Till one doesn't realize that I am beyond the three states, that Punarjanma exists. Because Jivatma exists, Jiva Bhav exists. When a person realizes, sorry, I am not this bucket, I am not this water, I am not this reflection, I am the moon. Moon doesn't have to go anywhere. Moon is moon. Same thing here. Ekadha bahuda chaiva. One only appears as so many. Drishyate jala chandravat. This is the drishya of this moon. So this is called Pratibimba Vaada. Now, the same thought is explained with another example. That is the famous example of the pot and the space. See 13th and 14th. Ghata samritam akasham niyamane ghate yatha ghato niyetana akashaha tatha jivo nabhopamaha घटवत् विविधाकारं भिद्यमानं पुनः पुनः तद्भग्नं न च जानाति सजानाति च नित्यशः. घटसंवृतं आकाशम, the space which is infinite, which is called Mahakasha, appears to be conditioned by the pot. So there is a pot space inside. That is called Ghatakash. Inside pot, Ghatakash. Outside pot, Mahakash. Ghata samritam akasham niyamane ghate yatha. Now, when the pot is moved, then do you move the space? Ghato niyeta na akasha. You move the pot, not the space, because space is everywhere. Tatha jivo nabhopamaha. So in that way, the jiva is compared to space, meaning jiva in the true nature is like the space, is infinite. Jiva doesn't have to go, consciousness doesn't have to go anywhere. It is all pervasive. Then if we move the pot from here, then you bring it here. The pot space inside does not have to be moved with that. Pot space here remains here. Pot space here fills up here as though, and the pot is moving in the space. Outside also is space, inside also is space. Pot is moving in space. Space doesn't have to be moved. It can be moved only where it is not. No, pot is here, it is not here. So from here I can move to here. But space is already everywhere, so we can't move it. Atma is already all pervasive. It cannot be moved. So Ghato niyeta na akashaha tatha jivo nabhopamaha. Hence, jiva in its true nature is like the space, all pervasive. Now I am thinking that I am this one individual with one little consciousness inside, and there are so many individuals like this, so many consciousnesses. It is not like that. It's not that so many pot spaces are there. There is only one space. The division is only apparent, it's not real. That division is only from standpoint of the pot. Space doesn't have any divisions actually. Space has no direction also. This east, west, north, south is what we are saying for our functional convenience. Where is east, west, north, south in space? Space is beyond direction. There is no division in space. Room space, bathroom space, puja room space, kitchen space. That is our functional division. Empty space, full space. Oh, so many people came. The hall has become full now. So people have left. Hall has become empty. Space never fills up. Space never becomes empty. People can come. People can go. They can move around in space. Nothing happens to space. Same way here. So ghatavat vividhakaram bhidyamanam puna puna. So in that way, there are different sizes of pots. One is a small pot, one is a pitcher, one is a cup, one is a saucer. Different things one makes out of mud. And it appears that the space occupied by each of them is different. And their color is different. Their designs are different. Some painting is done is different. Some is terracotta pot. Some is ceramic pot, some other is some other pot, whatever it is. All that is only variety of pots. There is no change in the space. Ghatavat vividhakaram. Akara is for the pot, not for space. Now bhidyamanam punah punaha. Again and again, if we break the pot, make new pots, etc., then what happens? Tad bhagnam nacha janati sajanati cha nityashaha. Now, you can break the pot again, make another new pot out of it, but there is no breaking of space happening in that. If somebody says, oh, space also got broken, or space doesn't get broken. The form got broken. And with that, another new form can be made. Again, space will be there in that. Nothing happens to space. Same way here. What does the shloka say here? The various forms like pot are broken again and again, yet the space in the pot does not know. Meaning the space in the pot does not feel I am broken. But he, the self, in the case of the individual body, always knows. See, the space inside that pot, obviously space is inert, so it doesn't know anything. But we feel I am going to die. Destruction of the body doesn't destroy us. Destruction of the body is like destruction of the pot. And just like that pot, when it is destroyed, one can again put water in that mud and whatever it is, make the mixture again and make something else out of it. This is Jada Vastu, this is inert matter. Again another body will come from this only. But the Atma which is there, that doesn't get destroyed at all. But one who does not know that, feels that with the destruction of the pot, I am also destroyed. That doesn't happen. Pot gets destroyed. Space never gets destroyed. So the more one contemplates on this, the more one realizes that pots are created in space. The beauty of this example is, even when the pot is there, does the pot ever create a division in space? It is incapable of creating a division. The division is only apparent, it's not at all real. There is nothing called pot space. There is only space, full stop. So the division is not real. There is no pot space inside the pot and then Mahakasha outside. So Mahakasha, one part of it is gone now from that Mahakasha. Now it is occupied by the pot. So pot has taken it up. Same way, we say that, I am, there's Atma inside me. I am one small part of the Atma. What part of the Atma? That which is infinite, how can it have a part? No, I am one small part of the Atma, and outside is Paramatma. I am this little Atma, and when I die, this little Atma will go and become one with this Paramatma. Nothing like that will happen. If Paramatma was infinite, if Paramatma is infinite, that Paramatma cannot produce any parts. He's not some assemblage of all parts put together and one small part has separated from him and now we have to go back to that small part, has to go back to the big part. At one level of evolution, one may say that if you come to Vedanta, all that is gone. Because where is the, how can there be this thing, divisions in that which is infinite? That space which is everywhere, all pervasive. How much ever buildings one may make, big buildings, or one may have small pots, or one may have some, long flower vase, whatever one may do, nothing will happen to that pot as a space. Same way, Atma is one infinite consciousness. Even when these bodies are there, nothing has happened to the Atma. Atma is still infinite. It's not that Atma has got conditioned by this body and now the Atma is inside, now it is trapped in the body, now it has to be released out of the body, and sadhana is to release this Atma and make it one with Paramatma. None of that. Atma is one which is infinite. Even when the pot space is there, it is only the real infinite space alone. There is no pot space actually, which is what we have to meditate. That I am not this pot, I am infinite space. I am not the pot, I am not the pot space. Who I am infinite space. There are no boundaries in me. Boundaries belong to this BMI. BMI is matter, BMI is perishable, it will change. I am not that. So there may be hundreds and thousands of pots, but still Atma is only one. Now inside the pot, one may have milk pot, somebody sugar pot, somebody honey pot. That is all what is the inside content of the pot. But the space inside is the same. If there is, water in a pot, there is milk in another pot, there is some spoiled buttermilk in another pot, that doesn't spoil the pot, doesn't spoil the space. Oh, Swamiji, then why sadhana is required if that doesn't affect the space? Sadhana is required because only through a pure mind we can recognize this fact. Impure mind can't recognize this fact. That we have seen earlier. The pure mind is that which is detached from objects. Impure mind is attached to objects. So attached to objects, we will run outside. We will not realize this self which is infinite inside and everywhere around. We will not know that. So sadhana has to be done to purify. When we purify the mind, we will realize, oh, I was never impure. I am the beyond purity and impurity. I am infinite consciousness. I am not the pot. I am not the content of the pot. I am not the pot space. Who am I? I am infinite space. Pots are born in me, stay in me, they die in me. Nothing happens to me. I am that space which accommodates everything else. I am that consciousness in which everything arises, stays, falls, but I am not affected by anything. So these examples are worth meditating upon. And one should contemplate that who am I? I am this pure consciousness, infinite like the space. Now, is it necessary to destroy that pot to know that the space inside is infinite? It is not necessary to destroy. That is called Jnana Drishti. If I can understand very clearly, one is freed. One knows that I am not this space trapped inside this pot. I am infinite space. For that, the destruction of the pot is not necessary. Destruction of the body is not necessary. Destruction of identification with the body is necessary. That false identification is in the head. So that has to go. That's why it was said, Naiva Chintyam Nacha Chintyam Achintyam Chintyam Eva Tat. It has to be thought of as the subject, not as an object. So one destroys the false identification that I am not this body, I am not the object, I am not anything external. I am the consciousness which is enlivening everything else. I am the pure subject. So that way one has to contemplate and drop the false identification. Destroying the pot, destroying the mind is not required. Automatically, one transcends the false identification, one will realize I am infinite. The destruction of pot example given here is only to say that with the destruction of the pot, the space is not destroyed, but we think that destruction of the body, I am destroyed. That is our ignorance. So now, two beautiful Vadas we saw today. One is the Pratibimba Vaada, another is the Avaccheda Vaada. Both these are to make us realize that the self in me is the self in all, and there is only one self, and that is indestructible, absolute, pure consciousness, beyond waking dream and deep sleep, beyond birth, change and death, and beyond rebirth also. So for today, we will stop here. Manohar ji, go ahead.
Hari Om Swamiji. Thank you very much for that beautiful clarity of thought and teaching. I will, for the benefit of the people who joined a little late, I will again repeat my request that next week our program is going to be slightly different. It's going to be special. So we would request you to log in a little early, around 6:40 or so. The Arati Yajman today is Srimati Srijata Basu. Now have Gurudev's Arati. Guruji's Arati.
आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की आरती सद्गुरु की चरणों में उनके शांति समाए शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए पाप ताप संताप हरने की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की सिद्ध बाड़ी की तपो भूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे भक्त हृदय आनंद स्रोत की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Okay, any questions? So, no questions. So we have on 3rd August, as was said earlier, Sadhana Day. I will be putting up an announcement. We will have early morning Paduka Puja Puja Gurudev, 6:45 a.m. here at Chinmay Priyam. It will be an online program. All of you can join. And there will also be japa and meditation followed by the Paduka Puja. And then evening, we will have letters of Puja Gurudev. From Vedanta through letters part 1, we will take up Gurudev's letters and we will see if people have written questions to him. What Gurudev has replied is amazing. So all of you can join that. And also we have Shravan Sombar from this Monday onwards. So we have Rudrabhishek in the morning, Mrityunjay Havan in the evening on 1st August, and then 8th August we have the Shiva Sahasranam Archana. The details I've already sent. You are welcome to join in these programs. And important is we have the Youth Empowerment Program. That is a free program, 1-year value-based leadership program for young graduates who are below 28 years. For 75 days, they stay with us in an ashram in Chinmay Vibhuti, and we train them in yoga, in Vedanta, in Hindu culture, in some aspects of communication skills, public speaking, team building, leadership, overcoming fears, inhibitions through adventure, travel, many ways in which we train them how to conduct workshops, classes, organize events. And then 9 months they will go and serve the society, where they will be posted in different centers of Chinmay Mission, and they will share the knowledge that they have learned. So it's a 1-year free program for the selected youngsters. Please spread the word. We are doing this 13th batch now. After COVID, this is the first batch that is happening. So we require push from everybody to reach out to as many young people as you can and tell them to apply. I will put up the link once again on the WhatsApp group. So please do tell them to make the best use of the opportunity and empower themselves, empower other youngsters. That's the vision of the program. Youth empower themselves and empower other youngsters, children, etc. Thank you, everyone. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.